It's a joke that I make all the time, and it's like as if somebody like stole your car and like rolls up to your, your house and is just like, hey, this is your car. The land acknowledgement thing is important. I'm not trying to, I don't think anyone's trying to like knock it, right? But because a lot of people just don't know. And even like the most radical people sometimes are just like they ignore it, or they think it's like identity politics or something like that that doesn't have a place in the real movement, whatever that means.
What is the process? What can we imagine as the process of settler accountability?
It's fundamentally about relations, right? Like what is your relationship with the nation whose land you live in, is it an ethical relationship? I don't know if it can entirely be, just based in the like, because we don't get it, like it's a structural thing, right? Being a settler isn't like somebody just wakes up and is like, I'm a settler. This is an identity, I assume. It's actually codified in law and like policy. And the example that I give in the book is about water rights specifically. Like the state is adjudicating on behalf of the settler nation to the detriment of the tribes all the time, whether it's any kind of conflict, whether if it's a pipeline, if it's water rights adjudication, those kinds of things. But at the same time, your nation like entered into treaty relations with my nation or whatever tribe, they have some kind of relation most of the time. And oftentimes, the settler kind of aspect of it, they're not upholding that original agreement or whatever agreement that they made in the first place, right? And so that's a place to start. It's a place to start to say like, you made these, you made these kind of like obligations, and it's like everyone's like, well, those treaties happened in the past. And I was like, well, the US Constitution was written in 1887, but y'all still think it's like the raddest shit in the world. so
Yeah.
so it's not these, I mean, these treaties are still relevant, and they're not the end all be all as well. We can always enter into new relations with people and keep creating those, but it requires again, it requires like finding out where you live, but also it requires like understanding that history of like what are nations in your area asking.